Let me walk you through some of the key Open RAN deployment worldwide. We think it is good to share with you that based on different scenario and use case, what we have done over the past 2 to 3 years. Okay, the very first case I think is currently is the largest Mavenir Open RAN deployment in US, Dish Network. So we work with them launching 5G SA Open RAN network in US, in basically in all the cities. And the very first market launched in Las Vegas in May 2022, last year. So basically the solution come from Mavenir is our full containerized cloud native RAN DUCU software. And thanks to the cloud native solution, we have basically we have our DU running on a private network cloud provided by VMware, and we having the CU software running on the public cloud provided by AWS. So we also have other partners like our radio partner from Fujitsu and other like Cisco as a transport network solution provider and Dell as a server hardware supplier, and also other Oracle, IBM, and Blue Planet. So as you can see, it is a truly multi-vendor environment, and we work with all the partners together to overcome the challenges of the integration. So imagine the integration is going to be very complicated. We have so many vendors to have different components from each vendor and then make the whole end-to-end Open RAN solution to provide the 5G coverage in US. And we are able to achieve the milestone, as you can see, deploy thousands of sites in US, and we're managing tens of thousands of Fujitsu radio. Because of the multi-band scenario, we have multiple bands per site. So we have more than 6 radio per site. So you can see it is a huge number of radios. And thanks to the automation, we developed the tools to deploy, to fasten the rollout. As for example, 100 DUCU per day. So eventually we are able to meet the criteria, coverage criteria set up by FCC. For example, now we actually have be able to provide work with Dish, provide the connectivity to 70% of the US population. The next one we have also in US, so we work with one of the tier 1 operator, deployed massive MIMO deployment using the 100 megahertz. So it is our own Mavenir radio. So you may have a question or doubts that why we have our own radio, because Mavenir is a software company. As a leader for Open RAN solution technology, we see some gaps on the radio portfolio. We do work with many different parties like Fujitsu, as you see, and we see the gap. We close out the gap by having our partner to do the manufacture, and then we design a radio. We come out with a massive MIMO radio portfolio to complement the current existing portfolio. And in other parts of the deployment, like for example, the Bermuda, we work with Paradise Mobile. So they are the service provider for Bermuda and also Cayman Islands. It is the 4G, 5G deployment. We provide the end-to-end solution, not only Open RAN, as you can see. We also provide our converged packet core software running on the COT server, like the Dell server, for example. And also we supply our Open Bin radio coming from Mavenir. So it is the end-to-end solution we have provided to Paradise Mobile. And the next one is the other deployment in UK. We work with Quick Line Communication. So basically, they are the rural broadband specialists. They provide the services or 5G services coverage to those rural community. We provide again the end-to-end 5G packet core plus our vRAN CODU software solution. And one thing to highlight over here is the spectrum. So the spectrum basically is a part of the Ofcom share license, which is one of the enabler to drive more different um, network deployment. And we work with Benitel N7700 megahertz radio, and basically enable the connectivity to the rural communities, bridging the gap between the cities and the rural. And the other case we would like to share is the smart city. We work with the BAI Communication, so they are basically the global infrastructure provider. We work with them to provide the smart city connectivity in Sunderland, in UK. So again, it's an end-to-end solution from Mavenir, packet core, RAN, radio, from Benitel. So it is considered as a private network setup. And eventually, there's a potential to have the neutral host. So somebody will take over the infrastructure and managing the network and monitoring. So they have the connectivity services, which is provided by the town council. So the use case over here is to provide the services for the social and healthcare for those like, for example, the vulnerable individual or elderly staying alone at home. So they may need access of the IoT device like smartwatch to monitoring their health, for example, or anything happen, they can have the feedback to the centralized managing system. And also they are targeting to provide the services for distant learning or education for primary school and the secondary school. And last but not least is the manufacturing. It want to have the services delivered to those autonomous vehicle, and also the smart guided good heavy vehicle for those manufacturing area like factory. And for example, Nissan, so they have the base in Sunderland, so they work closely with the town council here. Okay. And we also have other deployments, as you can see, in Asia as well. For example, in India, so we work with Airtel and Vodafone India to roll out 4G, 5G deployment. In Airtel particularly, we also, on top of the radio, RAN, CUDU software, we also have our rig platform and application. So for those of you may not be familiar with what is RIC, so basically it's a RAN intelligent controller. So it helps to provide the kind of automation in terms of the network optimization. So it helps to optimize the network, as in you don't need really to have someone to do the dry test or testing on the ground. Basically, the network will taking the input, put into the rig model to generate and put up the recommendation, what kind of parameter of the optimization guideline you need to do to further improve the user experience. So this is what we have provided to Airtel. And we do have other deployment in Europe, for example, the Virgin Media O2 UK deploying the Massive MIMO. It is a brownfield. So as you can see, a lot of brownfield deployment. So previously, many people thought Open RAN is just for the greenfield. But it is something, it's kind of not true. We have done quite a number of brownfield deployment worldwide, as you can see. And Dutch Telecom, particularly, we previously have set out Oran Town, having the Massive MIMO deployment in Germany. So this is what we have done, and we are selected by them to be the main partner for other parts of the Europe for Open RAN deployment. So in summary, I think yesterday's session, a lot of people have been sharing the benefits of Open RAN technology, how flexible, how versatile it is. So from the deployment reference case, we also seeing the same thing. It can be the brownfield, it can be the greenfield deployment, definitely. Also, we see some of the cases like fixed wireless access, you see for the quick line. And also we see other case like smart city, it can be a private network setup. So we expect to see more and more sites roll out, and also the deployment roll worldwide in 2023 and also the coming future.